Right on the shores of the Aegean Sea lies an island called Crete. This place was once the heart of one of the most amazing and advanced civilizations of the Bronze Age. This lost civilization might have stayed hidden in the sands of time if it weren't for the relentless efforts of two passionate archaeologists. The first was Heinrich Schliemann, a trailblazing archaeologist with a touch of treasure hunter. In 1871, he followed the trails of ancient myths to Hisarlik on the coast of modern-day Turkey and claimed to have found the legendary city of Troy from Homer's epic Iliad. His discoveries were groundbreaking, featuring a stunning collection of jewellery that he famously had his wife, Sophie, model for the world. Suddenly, it seemed Homer's tales were more history than poetry, and the public was hooked. But Schliemann didn't stop there. He turned his focus to the other key figures in Homer's epic, travelling to Mycenae on the Greek mainland. There, he believed he found the home of the Greek warlord Agamemnon. This discovery shook the academic world, as many scholars couldn't fathom that such advanced civilizations existed in prehistoric times. While some were left speechless by Schliemann's finds, others felt this was just the beginning. In 1900, inspired by Schliemann's discoveries, another determined archaeologist, Arthur Evans, arrived in Crete, specifically to a site called Knossos. Evans, who inherited a fortune from his father, had found clues of an unknown civilization during his studies of Mycenaean sites. Following local stories, he uncovered the Grand Palace of Knossos, linked to the legendary King Minos and the myth of the Minotaur. Evans named this civilization the Minoans, after King Minos. The discovery of this Bronze Age civilization enthralled the world. Evans portrayed the Minoans as a thriving, independent society. However, from their origins 5,000 years ago to their dramatic collapse, roughly 2,000 years later, the Minoans were deeply connected to the world around them, not isolated from it. Their dramatic end propelled them into the realm of myth, adding to their enduring mystery and allure. The Minoans likely arrived from Anatolia during the Middle Paleolithic period. However, Minoan culture only began to flourish after they discovered agriculture around 5000 BC. They had plenty of agricultural resources like animals and grains, but during the Bronze Age, they faced a significant challenge. The island lacked bronze, an essential alloy of copper and tin used to make weapons and tools to boost agricultural efficiency. To overcome this, the Minoans expanded their trade networks. They first reached out to the Cycladic Islands, then Cyprus, and lastly they extended their trade to Egypt, where they could find abundant supplies of tin, copper, and gold. This need to establish trade relationships, combined with Crete's strategic location linking Europe, Asia, and Africa, provided them with ample resources and transformed them into a master seafarer nation. Minoan ships were marvels of their time, designed for long voyages and heavy loads. Their skillful craftsmanship allowed the Minoans not just to trade with other nations, but to dominate the entire Aegean Sea and protect the island of Crete from foreign invasion. Inscriptions in Egyptian tombs still remind us of Egypt's vibrant trade relationships with other nations. Ancient depictions show Ethiopians carrying incense trees and animal hides, Nubians bringing ivory and gold, and Syrians with pots and carts. Among these delegations, one group is identified as the people of Keftu, known today as the Minoans, recognised by the gold vessels they carried. The Minoans bought gold from Egypt and, being skilled metalworkers, traded their crafted goods at a high profit margin. But gold wasn't the only thing the Minoans traded. They produced a unique dye extracted from sea snails, creating the colour purple, a shade so rare and prized that it became synonymous with royalty and heroism throughout the ancient world. This purple dye was in such high demand that the Minoans began sea farming sea snails. Sea farming really became necessary, as it took about 12,000 sea snails to produce enough dye to colour the hem of a single garment. This meticulous and labour-intensive process made the dye incredibly valuable, and showcased the Minoans' ingenuity and resourcefulness in their trading ventures. The extensive accumulation of commodities on the island required the Minoans to develop a written script to keep track of everything and record contracts. Several ancient scripts were found on the island, including the Phaistos disc, Linear A, and Linear B. Linear B, long thought to be an independent Minoan language, was later translated and revealed to be an early form of Greek brought by the Mycenaeans. It meticulously recorded the agricultural holdings of individual farmers. Meanwhile, the Phaistos disc and Linear A remain undeciphered mysteries to this day, adding an intriguing layer to the Minoan civilization's legacy. The Minoans were pioneers in many aspects of civilization. On the island of Crete, they built the first roads in Europe and erected the first palaces. They developed early sewer systems, significantly improving the quality of life in their cities, and even had the first flushing toilets in Europe. The Minoans constructed numerous structures that resembled palaces, but are now believed to have been monasteries. Around 1700 BC, at least 4 of these palaces were destroyed by devastating earthquakes. If pleasing the gods was part of the reason for building them, the gods certainly didn't appreciate them very much. Remarkably, only 50 years later, the Minoans rebuilt these palaces, making them even bigger and better than before. The oldest and largest palace in Crete was at Knossos. At its peak, it covered 700,000 square metres, 3 times the size of Buckingham Palace and its grounds, and featured over 1,000 rooms spread across 5 stories. The palace included a theatre, warehouses, several workshops, and luxurious rooms to the east, perfect for enjoying the morning sunlight. In the courtyard was a shrine, and extensive workshops were located at the back, creating a bustling hub of activity. The palace was surrounded by grain fields, olive trees, and vineyards, reflecting the Minoans' deep connection to the land. Beneath the palace of Knossos was a labyrinth, complete with subterranean alleys, corridors, and rooms used for storing wine and olive oil. Parts of this labyrinth were also used as dungeons. This intricate underground network likely inspired the iconic legend of the Minotaur. The legend of the Minotaur finds its origins in Egypt, where it's said that Egyptian kings built maze-like tombs near Crocodipolis, the city of crocodiles. While those Egyptian labyrinths no longer exist, the ones at Knossos on Crete certainly do, rumoured to have housed the ultimate monster, the Minotaur, a creature born from an unnatural union between a woman and a bull. According to the tale, Crete was ruled by King Minos, a scrupulous lawmaker. At some point, Poseidon gifted Minos a magnificent bull for sacrifice, but Minos, admiring its beauty, spared it and sacrificed another one instead. Enraged, Poseidon sought revenge by causing Minos' wife, Pasiphae, to develop an unnatural desire for the bull. Desperate, Pasiphae sought the help of Daedalus, who crafted a lifelike cowshell for her to meet the bull. This resulted in the infamous Minotaur, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull, armed with lion-like teeth to tear its prey. Daedalus then constructed a vast underground labyrinth to conceal Minos' wife's shameful offspring. Every 9 years, as a tribute to appease the Minotaur, 7 youths and 7 maidens were sent into the labyrinth to satisfy the cravings of the monster. This continued until the arrival of Theseus. Ariadne, Minos' clever and beautiful daughter, held the key to the labyrinth. With her assistance, Theseus ventured into the maze to confront the fearsome beast. As Theseus faced the Minotaur, he battled with intense anxiety, but ultimately triumphed, slaying the monstrous creature and freeing the land from its terrifying grip. This heroic feat of Theseus against the Minotaur remains a timeless tale of courage and triumph over adversity. Alongside the legend of the Minotaur, another enigmatic figure captured imaginations of the ancient Cretans, the snake goddess. This deity was depicted in ancient Minoan art as a powerful female figure holding snakes in each hand, symbolizing her connection to fertility, nature, and the spiritual realm. One of the most iconic representations of the snake goddess is her statue, crafted from exquisite porcelain. Sir Arthur Evans, the archaeologist who unearthed this artifact at Knossos, described her with reverence. He noted the detailed craftsmanship of her bosom, emphasizing its naturalistic curves before going on describing the quality of the porcelain used for the statue. This statue, along with other artifacts depicting the snake goddess, provides insights into the spiritual beliefs and cultural practices of the Minoan civilization, showcasing their reverence for feminine power and the natural world. Seal stones and signet rings found frequently on the island served as stamps of ownership and identity, akin to the Bronze Age equivalent of a credit card, speculated by some. These artifacts depict rituals such as singing, dancing, and the daring practice of bull leaping. Prominent motifs often feature female priestesses, underscoring their pivotal role in Minoan society. Despite limited knowledge about the Minoan governing system and whether they had a formal monarchy, it is clear that women held significant influence. Female priestesses played a central role in religious practices, worshiping a diverse pantheon of female deities associated with storms, grain, and other aspects of life. They performed rituals aimed at achieving spiritual closeness to their gods. They went so far as to consuming narcotics in caves just to sense divine proximity. The Minoans embraced athleticism and physical prowess. One of the most jaw-dropping things they did was bull leaping, also called thaurokathapsia. Imagine this: they'd grab the bull's horns as it charged, and when the bull shook its head in an effort to break free, acrobats capitalized on this motion to vault gracefully over the animal. For the Minoans, bulls had a great significance. They were everywhere, in statues and paintings, always treated with reverence. And what do the Minoans have to do with Atlantis? The connection between the Minoans and Atlantis originates from Plato's writings dating back to 428–347 BC. Inspired by events nearly 1,000 years earlier, Plato depicted Atlantis as a kingdom of unparalleled power and sophistication for its time. The exact location of Atlantis has sparked endless debate. Interestingly, during the era of the Minoan civilization, the island of Thera, known for its massive volcano, played a significant role in discussions about Atlantis' possible existence. In 1530 BC, the island of Thera witnessed a catastrophic event of unprecedented scale. The eruption of Santorini's massive volcano was 10 times more powerful than Vesuvius, which buried Pompeii, and 4 times greater than Krakatoa. 1/3 of Thera's landmass exploded, while the remainder was buried under layers of ash and debris to a depth of 40 meters. Crete, just 90 kilometers from Thera, had a front-row seat to the cataclysmic event that happened to their neighbor. First historical accounts from a later time, like those of a Roman traveler, vividly describe the scene. As the sea receded, it exposed stranded sea creatures in the mud. But the true terror came moments later. A deafening roar heralded a colossal wall of water racing towards the island at the speed of an express train. In some areas, these tsunami waves towered over 100 feet high. Following the devastation, the Minoan civilization slowly declined over a period of 90 years. It was a prolonged and agonizing decline. After the tsunamis, ash clouds blanketed the skies, blocking sunlight and poisoning water sources, which led to widespread famine. This marked the onset of a troubled era for Crete, characterized by hardship and challenges. Near the palace of Knossos, archaeologists made a chilling discovery. The bones of children, their flesh meticulously carved from their bones. These remains were unearthed in a cooking pot, alongside edible snails, a grim indication of cannibalism among the Minoans. Scholars debate whether this was driven by ritualistic practices or an act of sheer desperation during times of starvation. The downfall of the Minoan civilization around 1450 BC was not just due to famine. Religious strife and civil war also played significant roles. These internal conflicts over religious beliefs further contributed to the collapse of what was once a flourishing and sophisticated society. After the cataclysmic events on Thera, the Mycenaean Greeks stepped in to rebuild many of the island's palaces. Whether they conquered Crete or negotiated for territory in exchange for aid remains uncertain. From that point onward, the destinies of the Mycenaeans and Minoans became closely intertwined. According to Homer, Crete contributed one of the largest contingents to the Mycenaean fleets during their legendary assault on Troy. Yet, as they shared in triumphs, they also shared in downfall. Around 1200 BC, Mycenaean power on the Greek mainland crumbled under the weight of slave revolts, tribal migrations, and civil strife. These internal conflicts are often cited as reasons for the collapse of Mycenaean dominance in the region. In their final days, the last of the Minoans sought refuge in the misty and chilly mountains of Carfi, witnessing the gradual decline of their once vibrant civilization. The reasons behind their abandonment of the grand palaces for places like Carfi remain a mystery. Some speculate fear played a significant role, fear so profound that it took a full century before the remaining population dared to resettle in the lowlands once more. The enduring legacy of the Minoans is coloured by this enigmatic retreat and their tenacious survival amidst challenging times. The Minoan story is one of resilience and mystery, marked by their extraordinary achievements and the challenges they faced. From the heights of their artistic and cultural achievements to the depths of natural disasters and internal strife, the Minoans left an indelible mark on history. Their legacy continues to intrigue and inspire, reminding us of the enduring human spirit in the face of calamity and change.